I'm here with Brandon Slagle, director of Affinity. No secret to anyone that listens to us. I love Louis Mandylor, love Marko Zaror, and you got both of them in this. And I'm actually a
Yep.
fan of yours, so this is the triple threat for me. What
Yeah.
got Affinity started, and what kind of got the ball rolling on this?
Yeah. So Marco had the story for a while. I think going back, maybe not as far as Undisputed 3, but somewhere in the mid like 2010s. And it went through a lot of different versions and stuff. And he always wanted to do it in Thailand. And he even started training with stunt teams and stuff in Thailand over the years. And there was another director that was going to do it at one point that didn't work out. And so they were, after John Wick 4 came out, people were like, hey, we got to get you as the lead in a movie. And they needed someone who knew the crews in Thailand and knew action. And I think I was the only person that they talked to, the producer Adele and Marco. We had like Marco and I had like a 3 hour conversation just about like life and geeky things and stuff we like growing up. Like we both loved Bruce Lee growing up and everything. And there, from there on, we like talked just about every day for 7 or 8 months and then shot the movie.
One of the fun things I love watching, especially movies with Mark Zaror, is when you get a character kind of going up trying to pick a fight with him or talking crap to him. Like, dude, do you have any idea who he is? How
Yeah,
stupid
a
are
lot
you?
of
Because
people
you're about
don't.
to just walk right into it.
Yeah, a lot of people don't expect a guy that big to move like he does because he's 6'2" or 6'3". So he's like Dolph Lundgren that moves like Jet Li or Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
He's just super fast. Like there's certain ways that I know, like anyone who knows about like filmmaking, I shoot a lot of fights and action scenes at a 90-degree shutter angle that kind of gives it a like faster kinetic look. With Marco, you don't have to do that because if you did, you wouldn't see what he's doing because he's just that fast and formidable.
It's kind of like a video game. You're better off going
Yeah.
at 60 frames a second, 120 if you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Actually, I got kind of sort of a technical question. So early on in this movie, you have and it's probably like a real simple way you do this, but I couldn't figure it out. So at the beginning of the movie, you have a lot of first person point of view
Yeah,
from a gun sight or from the gun itself,
yeah,
and then once the gun points at someone, someone falls.
yeah.
Now, I figure you can just maybe point it and say number one, and then some person knows to fall. Number two, or maybe you hit them with airsoft guns, so when they get hit, they know to fall. Or you shoot them with real bullets, and then they have no choice but to fall. But like, how do you line that up in a first person shot?
Well, I mean, this was a secluded desert area 3 hours north of Bangkok in Thailand, so maybe we did shoot people and just left them there. No, it actually your first guess was pretty close. And I still have in my, I think, Vimeo account the previs that we did for that sequence. We used Tony Jaa's stunt team in the movie. He were just great to work with, as you can assume. And so we have a version of that opening scene with just like boxes representing the hills and the geography and everything. And so basically the DP Nico would sort of shadow Marco. So Marco's still there even when you don't see him. So they're kind of going concurrent or parallel to one another. And yeah, you were right. There's like number one for this guy, number two for this. It's all in like certain beats that are called out by either, I think actually Marco may have called those out, since he was the guide. But yeah, it comes across like chaos, but it's very controlled and very well planned out.
Yeah, and also the action on this is real kind of not exactly like, but kind of similar to the fight scenes in the Roadhouse remake, where the
I
camera's
haven't
like
seen that.
really, well, the camera's really fluid, kind of
Yeah,
stuck on Marco the whole time,
yeah,
which
yeah.
seems like magic. I know that people are not that that steady with the camera, but
Yeah.
there's got to be
Uh,
some element of that. Like how do you
yeah.
shoot those scenes and get that
Uh,
look?
so, so Nico, the DP, I used on two other movies as well as a movie Battles for Saipan, which has kind of a similar action language. And that was also the first movie that I did in Bangkok. The very first time Nico and I talked, like within moments, he understood like the style that I like to use, which is kind of like cherry picking from a lot of different influences and stuff. Like I like to follow the main character or like their punch. So it's still, so for instance, like the camera's still on Marco, but we sway slightly, feel the impact. There's a little shake, and we come again. So it's that actually really worked well in this movie, which is supposed to be from the Bruno character, from Marco's character's point of view. So we're always like with him, like we came with him to watch the fight without it being like found footage or something like that. So but yeah, Nico is like remarkable at camera operating. He's very humble, so he probably doesn't like Marco and I saying this in every interview we're doing, but he's sort of like, we'll watch a fight and like you see him kind of trace it out with his fingers or like with his hand movements, and then he has his camera rig and he just does it effortlessly. He has big forearms too, like a tennis player, so so that helps also. But yeah, Nico's great because he operates so fluidly, but still adheres to each director's style that he works with. Like he shot Diablo, which is very much like Ernesto's style, and then my stuff, which has more of the like floating jittery thing. So he's getting a lot of great jobs now, and he totally deserves all of it.
Well, I will co-sign on the Nico verbally filleting Nico because I agree the cinematography is great. So Nico, sorry, we love you. You do great work. But yeah, that I mean, just like all the action in this is really solid. Which I mean, coming from you is no surprise. And I think a lot of kind of people in your camp have finally figured out that when you get good fighters like Louis or Marco or anyone, I
Yeah.
mean, you want that camera to be smooth. You don't need to
Yeah.
take 13 cuts in a second because that's just I mean, who needs that?
You're referring to Taken 3, I can tell.
I haven't seen Taken 3, but I've seen plenty of movies that are just
Yeah.
as egregious.
Well, there's that like notorious shot that's used on a lot of YouTube studies and
Oh,
videos
where he's
where
jumping he's
over the
jumping over
fence,
the
and
yeah.
it's like 33 cuts or something. Yeah, my philosophy is if you have the performers who can do it, you need to show the audience that they can do it, because for one thing, it's wish fulfillment. The audience will see themselves in that character more, and also it's exhilarating to watch. And when you know it's that actor doing it, like it's not like Matt Damon with a stunt double in the Bourne movies. No offense to those, but like everything in this except for the motorcycle riding was Marco. So if they can do it, you got to damn well show it.
Well, like with the Bourne movies, I mean, probably one of the most iconic shots is when he's jumping off the building into the window.
Yeah,
It's not iconic because take actually that if you took a bunch of different cuts, it would make sense just because how
yeah,
dangerous that stun is. But the fact that it's
and you
just
can show
one
the
shot,
scale of
like
it better too. Yeah,
yeah, the fact that it's one shot just makes you go, what the hell?
yeah,
I also want to talk about, don't know if I got the name correct, Brooke Entz. NC?
yes, yes, you nailed it. Ents.
Where
Although I
where
did
where
call NC when I first saw it.
oh where do you find her? Because I mean, speaking of Lewis and Marco being badasses,
Yeah.
she's no slouch either.
Yeah, so she is a one-time or maybe multiple-time women's world CrossFit champion. She was one of the Amazon ensemble in Wonder Woman and Zack Snyder's Justice League. The main thing I can point out to people is in the Snyder Cut, she's the Amazon that saves them by keeping the wall from falling on, who eventually gets crushed. And I think she was also in Black Lightning on DC's Black Lightning. She was a friend of the producer Adele's, and that role was originally written not necessarily for a guy, but it was very neutral, kind of like how you hear stories about the script for Alien being very neutral, like Ripley wasn't a male or female
Yeah.
or
Or
anything.
Amy Madigan in Streets of Fire. I think her character was written for a guy and was sim.
Yeah, yeah. And so at one point, Adele asked Marco and I, "Is like, well, what do you think about Brooke in this?" And it really fit well because I like that her, Marco, and Lewis, they're like this sort of dysfunctional family because they're all that, they have left is each other. And each of them are so different. Like if you had three guys that looked exactly alike or something, it's not interesting. But when you have, like you see behind you, Marco and Brooke together, that's like an interesting dynamic there. And they couldn't look more different. Also, Brooke is obviously really physically capable. A lot of the things that she did in this movie, actually everything she did in this movie, she nailed almost the first try. Like I always forget the name of it, but it's that move that Scarlett Johansson and Heidi Moneymaker do in the Marvel movies. That
Oh, with the legs
look,
around the neck and whip
yes,
around and yeah.
yeah, we were doing that in the previs with the stunt team, and they did one, and then she's like, okay, and she just instantly did it.
Just
So
first try.
yeah, so don't mess with Brooke.
You know what? I'm gonna talk crap on all of them. Just get my ass beat. Just see what it feels like. Oh goodness. What? So what? Historically in these movies, you don't have a lot of time from the time you get the actors and they can start kind of pre-visiting or practicing the fight scenes to
Yeah.
when the movie's done. Like how much time do you have to figure all that out? Because the fight scenes are great in this, and
Yeah.
I assume you don't have much time. So everyone seems to, I assume, have
This
to learn it almost immediately.
there was more time than some other movies. Like a lot of these other movies that like me and friends get hired on, we get like no time to do anything or just a day. And then everyone has to learn the moves on the spot while you're shooting. This, it was very important for Marko to show his brand. And, obviously this is something he'd been working on for a long time. So we had a few weeks before a shooting to actually learn all of this. And even beyond that, the stunt team had the script and was able to show us their ideas for things put together and cut together even before Marko and I were there. So it was really, we were really lucky that we actually had the time that we had to do this, because so few movies you don't get to. I mean, the schedule was 22, 23 days, which I guess is still not a lot compared to like John Wick Chapter 4 shooting for 6 months. But for one of these like mid-budget action movies, that's like a blessing to have, because a lot of like these things you see with Mel Gibson and stuff shoot in like 10 or less.
Yeah. Affinity's out now.
Yeah.
Did it get any sort of theatrical run? Because I imagine this would be
I
fun to
don't
watch
it
on stream.
not in North America, but in other countries it's getting theatrical. I think actually in Marco's home country in Chile, it will, I think, be theatrical. Or maybe I shouldn't say this until I know for sure. But I know there will be some theatrical screenings.
Oh
We
yeah,
had a
okay.
premiere about a little over a month ago, and I love seeing it in the theater with people clapping and stuff like that. That's don't get to do that enough these days.
Have to figure out how to get a passport and pull some money to a plane ticket. But
If you
yeah,
can tell me how the dubbing is.
yeah. But Brian, it's been great having you on here, and congratulations on another banger. Just want to, well, I want to get a movie recommendation. Last time I talked to you, kind of got a bunch during our conversation, but just
Yeah.
want to get a movie recommendation from you. Something that like this movie's real good and no one talks about it, like one of those kind of movies.
Yeah.
And then kind of give us a quick 1-2 of what you got coming up after this.
So let me actually, there's something I bought recently. Let me look at my Voodoo page. Not necessarily in action, but this movie that Pete Davidson just did with the director of The Purge called, I think it's just called The Home, is actually pretty good. And you see him not be Pete Davidson,
Nice.
which, everything else he's done, like SNL, and he did basically a biopic, and then that movie Bodies, 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 he's kind of playing a version of himself. This one, he's totally different. Let me see if I think there's one more. Give me a second. Oh, it says, never mind, my voodoo is frozen. But yeah, The Home is the name of the movie.
Oh,
It'll surprise you.
nice. And then what do you got coming up after this one?
Well, the movie business has been a little slow, but a few things have still happened. I shot my first movie in America for the first time in years last fall, called Alien Horde. And unfortunately, the producer, Michael Mahal, passed away. So we're taking extra care to make sure that one comes out really well. A couple things I shot recently. There's one that I wrote with Scout Taylor Compton and Daniel Harris that they co-directed together, called Last Chance Motel, that will have Heather Langenkamp from the Nightmare on Elm Street movies, as you've never seen her before. She's pretty fantastic in it. That should have a premiere soon, I think. And then there's other things that are in the works now. Hopefully another one with Marko, and maybe one in Europe. We'll see.
All right. Well, Brennan, congratulations on the movie and thanks for joining me.
All right. Thank you very much.